Good morning, everyone. My name is Abhay Singh, and I welcome you all in today's video analysis of The Hindu. Today's 28th of June 2024, and we'll start today's analysis with the first news headline of the day. And the first news headline for the 28th June 2024 is that CBI has made two arrests in the Patna for the leak of NEET paper. So this is one big development in the NEET paper leak case. And what is that development? That CBI Central Bureau of Investigation had arrested two persons from Patna. So this is a big development in the NEET paper leak case. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day, we have to understand one thing that today on 28th of June 2024 there are not a lot of important news items in the newspaper. So we have to keep it very simple and crisp, and we will look only into the important news items. अब हम लोग इसके साथ आगे बढ़ते हैं. Now, this is the news. President flags need mention emergency in her parliament speech. So, basically, the President of India, Ms. Draupadi Murmu, was giving her first address to the parliament since the Lok Sabha. So, basically, it was a kind of welcome speech or the first address by President to the freshly elected MPs. तो 18th लोकसभा में जो लोग इलेक्ट होकर के पार्लियामेंट पहुंचे हैं उनके लिए प्रेसिडेंट साहिबा ने क्या किया कि जो हर सेशन के स्टार्टिंग में और हर नई लोकसभा के स्टार्टिंग में जो सबसे पहला स्पीच होता है वो प्रेसिडेंट का होता है, और वही स्पीच इंडिया की जो प्रेसिडेंट है द्रौपदी मुर्मू उन्होंने डिलीवर किया है लोकसभा में. इसमें उन्होंने कुछ कुछ चीज़ों को मेंशन किया है, जैसे कि उन्होंने इमरजेंसी को मेंशन किया है, नीट के एग्जाम को मेंशन किया अपने स्पीच में. बस इस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक में हमारे लिए सिर्फ इतना ही इंपॉर्टेंट है, इसके अलावा कुछ भी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. आई हैव ऑलरेडी मेंशनड इट दैट कि आज बहुत कम और लिमिटेड टॉपिक है हमारे लिए जो इंपॉर्टेंट है. हमें सिर्फ उन्हीं टॉपिक से फोकस करना है, हमें ज़्यादा इधर उधर नहीं देखना है. बस हमें अपने एग्जाम के जो इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स हैं सिर्फ हमें उन्हीं पे स्टिक रहना है. अब देखिए, हम लोग सेकंड पेज पे जब पहुंचेंगे तब आप लोग सबसे पहला जो न्यूज़ आइटम है ये आपका पॉलिटिकल न्यूज़ है. उद्धव लैम्बास सेंटर महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट ओवर नीट राम टेम्पल लीकेज. साड शिरोमणि अकाली दल टू सपोर्ट बीएसपी नॉमिनी फॉर बाइपोल इन पंजाब. लाइक पॉलिटिकल न्यूज़. हिमाचल टू लॉन्च स्कीम फॉर ओवर ग्रोथ ऑफ चिल्ड्रन. सो पॉलिटिकल न्यूज़. Women tourists washed away in Parvati River, so not important for any examination because they will not ask the death of a single person, which is not so important for the examination point of view. NHRC notice to UP DGP over brother's death by suicide. Not another, no another not so important news. ED book gets custody of kingpin in 2002 Jammu and Kashmir SI paper leak case. So this is also not important. JJP offers support to Congress for Rajya Sabha post in Haryana, denies any alignment with BJP. So this is also a political news and which is not important for us to understand. Now moving on. Real life peps up Kashmir as top director for spotlight on filmmaking. So a lot of the top filmmakers of this particular country, the lots of top filmmakers of India, have visited the Jammu and Kashmir, and they are trying to, make Jammu Kashmir more film friendly. So they have, held a joint meeting there. So, like this is the news. Bollywood star movie directors on Thursday held no holds barred deliberations with locals about the magical real life, sought to further strengthen the decade-old relations between scenic Kashmir and the silver screen by prodding locals to enter into filmmaking. So, what will happen that the people from Bollywood will try to motivate more locals from the Jammu and Kashmir to participate or to take part in the filmmaking. So this is not so important news, but again we have to understand the recent developments which are taking place in Jammu and Kashmir, because these developments are very important for us to understand that what are the current situation in the Jammu and Kashmir. Now moving on. CID files charge sheet against Yedurappa in POXO case. Not important. Seer publicly appeals to CM to make way for Shivakumar. Not important. CBI files charge sheet against 5 former police officers in ISRO case. So this is kind of important news for us to understand. The Central Bureau of Investigation, the Central Bureau of Investigation, the Central Bureau of Investigation has filed a charge sheet against two former DGPs, CB Mathew of Kerala and RB Shikumar of Gujarat, and three other retired police officials in connection with the alleged framing of space scientist Nambi Naran in the 1994 ISRO espionage case, officials said. So basically, CBI has filed a charge sheet against the five former police officials in a case related to Mr. Nambi Narayan, who is a former ISRO scientist, and these five policemen are accused of alleging, they are these five policemen are accused of framing Mr. Nambi Narayan, who is a space scientist, in the espionage in an espionage case in 1994. So what happened is that in 1994, these officials filed a false case and framed Mr. Nambi Narayan. Now, subsequently, what CBI did, the CBI has filed a charge sheet now against these five police officers for framing Mr. Nambi Narayan. So this is one important news item for us to understand. Now moving on. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. Next important news headline for the day. Man held for stealing jewelry worth 2 crore from air passengers is not important. See, we have to understand the importance of newspaper, because if you don't understand the importance of newspaper is the source of information, and every information is not relevant for our examination point of view. So we have to understand, or we have to look into those news items which are important for our examination point of view. We will leave each and every kind of news which is not important for our examination. Moving on moving on to the next important news item for the day. Next, this news is related to the defense sector. Now, India has expressed interest in co-producing the Striker infantry vehicles, and it is relatively early stages of talks with the US on the Striker and the Javelin anti-tank guided missile, says the US Deputy Secretary of State Kurt M. Campbell. So basically, India has expressed, interest in purchasing or co-producing the Striker infantry vehicles, and it is relatively in the early stage of talk with the US government. And the US on Striker and Javelin anti-tank guided missile. So basically, हम लोग अमेरिका से कुछ वेपन्स खरीद रहे हैं, और ये अभी हम लोग जो वेपन्स खरीदने वाले हैं, ये बहुत अभी जो कॉन्वर्सेशन हो रही है, ये मीटिंग हो रही है यूएस के साथ में, ये अभी बहुत ही अर्ली स्टेज में है. दिस मीटिंग इज इन द अर्ली स्टेज. सो अभी ये बस एक छोटी सी चीज ये निकल के आ रही है कि इंडिया कुछ वेपन्स खरीद रहा है. उसमें से क्या क्या चीजें हैं? स्ट्राइकर इन्फेंट्री व्हीकल एंड जेवेलिन एंटी टैंक गाइडेड missile. Now these are the two things which we are going to purchase from United States of America. ये दो चीजें हैं जो स्ट्राइकर इन्फेंट्री व्हीकल और जेवलिन एंटी टैंक गाइडेड मिसाइल जो हम लोग खरीदने वाले हैं. कहाँ से? जो हम लोग खरीदने वाले हैं यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका से. नाउ Rahul meets Om Birla says resolution on emergency could have been avoided, so not important again. हम सब लोगों को पता होना चाहिए 25th जून को 25th जून 50th एनिवर्सरी ऑफ इमरजेंसी, तो इमरजेंसी के 50 साल पूरे हो चुके हैं। और इसी को लेकर के मिस्टर ओम बिरला, हु इज द न्यूली इलेक्टेड स्पीकर ऑफ द लोकसभा, उन्होंने कुछ स्टेटमेंट दिया था। सो राहुल गांधी इज लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन, उन्होंने क्लियर डिसेंट अपना प्रेजेंट किया है कि अब स्पीकर ऑफ द लोकसभा इतना डिग्निफाइड पोस्ट है, इतना इंटीग्रिटी है इस पोस्ट के साथ में, उन्हें ऐसे स्टेटमेंट्स नहीं रिलीज करने चाहिए थे। नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज आइटम फॉर द डे, एंड नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज आइटम फॉर द डे इज नाउ the mainland Sero. The mainland Sero, a mammal that looks like a cross between a goat and an antelope, has been recovered at the lowest elevation beyond Bhutan, its natural home in Assam. A team of scientists recorded a lone mainland Sero. Now, what is the scientific name of mainland Sero? Capricornis sumandatis Thar at 96 meters. So, uh, what is the scientific name of mainland Sero? Capricornis sumatendris Thar at 96 meter above the mean sea level at Rayoma National Park in western Assam. So basically, mainland Sero. It is a mammal. It is a mammal. Now, it is a mammal. We all know now that it is a mammal. So basically, ये mammal अभी कुछ रिकॉर्ड लो एटीट्यूड पे मिला है। और ये कहाँ पे मिला है रिकॉर्ड लो एटीट्यूड पे? 96 मीटर, बेसिकली सी लेवल से सिर्फ 96 मीटर ऊपर। और कहाँ पे एग्जैक्ट लोकेशन क्या है? रायमोना नेशनल पार्क, वेस्टर्न Assam. Now, why this becomes very important fact? Why this becomes very strange fact when these mainland Sero found at the height of 96-meter mean sea level? Because normally they are found at the height of between 200 to 3000 meter. So that's why this is important, that the mainland sorrow, which is a animal which looks like a cross between a goat and antelope, is found in the mainland, which is found in the Rayoma National Park in western Assam. साइंटिफिक नेम क्या था? कैप्रिकॉर्निस स्टिमुलेटरिस थार। आप लोग याद रखेंगे, ये दो चीजें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि ये कहाँ पे मिला है। सो द प्लेस इज रायोमा नेशनल पार्क, वेस्टर्न असम, एंड द साइंटिफिक नेम इज कैप्रिकॉर्निस स्टैंट्रिस थार। अब किस हाइट पे मिला है? 96 मीटर पे। और नॉर्मल हाइट क्या है जहाँ पे मिलता है? 200 से 3000 मीटर के बीच में। ठीक है, नाउ मूविंग ऑन। So we are directly moving into the editorial part of the Hindu of 28th of June 2024, and the first editorial of 28th June 2024 is related to the recent attack on Riyasi in Jammu and Kashmir on the 9th of June 2024. So there was an attack in the Riyasi of Jammu and Kashmir. This attack took place on the 9th of June 2024. It was the same day when Prime Minister when Mr. Narendra Modi took oath as the Prime Minister of India for the third time. Now, let's start this particular article. This particular article does not have a lot of fact in itself, so we will look into the only important aspect of this particular news item. We will not cover this particular article, completely, because this complete article have a lot of things which are not important for examination, and again there's we don't have so much of time, we have only limited time in a day, so we'll cover only things which are important for our examination point of view. So now let's move into this particular article. The Riyasi terrorist attack of June 9, the day the Prime Minister Narendra Modi took his oath of office for a third term, is reminiscent of the attack on the Consulate General of Herat, Afghanistan on May 23, 2043, 2014. 3 days prior to his first swearing in, nine pilgrims lost their lives in the attack in Riyasi and 41 were injured. So basically, this is saying, this particular article, the first thing that this article is saying is that this has become a trend. This has become a trend that before every swearing in ceremony, there will be attack like this, because this particular pattern was also followed in the year 2000, 2014, when Mr. Narendra Modi took oath for the office of Prime Minister for the first time. Now, moving on. The possibility of the Riyasi attacks linked with the terrorist group in Pakistan remains high. The Jammu division has witnessed many terrorist incidents over the past few months, including the Riyasi attack. So basically, there are probable connections of Pakistan. There is a probable involvement of Pakistan in this particular attack. These are only speculations. We are not so sure. These are only we are trying to only establish links that the Pakistan may have their hand in this attack. Now, the role of Jammu and Kashmir, the separatists from Jammu and Kashmir also becomes very important, because Pakistan and separatists in Jammu and Kashmir were encouraged by the success of Afghan jihad. Pakistan thought that if a superpower could be defeated by Afghan Islamist group, other such groups could be used to pressure India and Kashmir through mass uprising, violence against minorities, and terrorist action against prominent personalities and the security forces, leading this country to abandon Kashmir. The Indian state and the security forces took time to craft defensive counter-insurgency and counter-terrorism approaches in the first half of the 1990s. So basically, about Pakistan and separatists of Jammu and Kashmir thought that if they will try to disturb the situation in Jammu and Kashmir, they can easily get the benefit of this disturbance. So what they did, they tried to they deployed many ploys. They used many ploys such as violence against minorities, terrorism, terrorist attacks in different part of Jammu and Kashmir. But Indian government or the Indian army was ready for these kind of insurgencies and counters. So they have started the counter insurgency programs, and counter terrorism approaches. The Pakistan army and its political class are committed to the Kashmir cause. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, both Nawaz Sharif and Benazir Bhutto, who became Pakistan's prime minister, in turn were supportive of the promotion of separatism in Jammu and Kashmir by the army and intelligence agencies, though through the use of terror. So basically, the leaders of Pakistan between the 1980s and between late 1980s and early 1990s, Nawaz Sharif and Benazir Bhutto, they were also supportive of separatism in Jammu and Kashmir, and for spreading this separatism, they have used many tools, and one such tool was terror. Terror was one such tool or one such ploy that was used by Pakistan. Ploy used by Pakistan. Terrorism. Terrorism. Now, moving on. Now, consequently, there was no dialogue between the two countries while she was in office. Mr. Sharif became Prime Minister in 1997 for the second time. He decided to change Ms. Bhutto's policy and engage India. So basically, what was the policy that was adopted by Benazir Bhutto? Because she was not interested in having a conversation with India. She adopted a second method, and that method was the method of terrorism. So basically, she used this particular tool. But when the government changed in the year 1997, when Mr. Sharif became the Prime Minister of the Pakistan, he tried to open the gates. And he was interested in having a conversation with India. So basically, he was a kind of Prime Minister who was supportive of this idea that to resolve this particular problem, we should have the conversation. Now, Pakistan desired a structured dialogue with India which would focus on all issues, humanitarian conflict resolution, and the development of cooperative mechanism within the within this rubric. Its focus was on disputes, Jammu and Kashmir being the priority. However, India wished to discuss Pakistan. However, India wished to discuss Pakistan terrorism as a separate issue in the dialogue process. By the mid 1990s, India had gained the confidence to manage Pakistan sponsored terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir while it was exacting a tolls in the lives exacting a tolls in the lives and had disrupted normalcy. The apprehension that Pakistan would take the state out of India's grip had gone. The decision to hold assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir in 1996 was a signal that while the application of force to counter terrorism was necessary and would continue, there was space to begin the political activity. So now this is also another important. This is important for us to understand that why the situation changed in the mid 1990s and early 1990s. The situation started to change from the early 1990s, and the things changed drastically after 1997 when the form of governance was changed. So now what happened is that India has tried, India successfully tried, and India successfully stabilized the situation in Jammu and Kashmir. And after stabilizing the situation in Jammu and Kashmir, the Indian government was trying to conduct a election there. So this election was a kind of sign that things are going back to the normal. This particular election was a sign of normalcy that things are going better and smooth in Jammu and Kashmir in the year 1996, which indirectly means that the impact of Pakistan is to getting low, getting less day by day. The impact of Pakistan in Jammu and Kashmir is getting less day by day. Now moving on to the diplomacy aspect of this particular problem between India and Pakistan. What is the importance of diplomacy in resolving the conflict between these two countries? So the role of diplomacy is very great. The role of diplomacy is very vast in resolving the conflict between these two countries. Although this thing is the thing is very good for both the countries. The things are very grim for especially for Pakistan because the financial situation is not good in Pakistan. So somehow the role of Pakistan becomes very dubious in every such attack because Pakistan is our neighboring country and he has involved himself in many such activities in the past. That's why Pakistan becomes the prime accused in each and every such incident. We have to understand this thing now. We have to understand few more points that we India has mainly used diplomacy in resolving these issues. India has never, not never, but India has not used, uh, you know, uh, the military forces. Most of the time, India has not used those things. So we have to understand one thing that we always want the non-violence. We don't want any kind of violence. We only want the diplomatic ways through which this problem can be resolved. Now, let's focus on the last paragraph for the day, last paragraph of this article, where India actually departed from the use of diplomacy and used military force against Pakistani terrorism was the Pulwama attack of 2019. It undertook the Balakot aerial strike and also announced a doctrine of preemption. Earlier too, it used force in a limited way of undertaking surgical strikes in the wake of the Uri terrorist attack of September 2016. Despite these undertakings, the ambiguity on the use of force remains. Obviously, kinetic action to be undertaken against an unacceptable attack. Besides, the doctrine of preemption is based on the right to take out terrorist targets if preparations are being made in Pakistan to launch an unacceptable terrorist attack. The question is what is unacceptable. Now this is important. What is the what is this doctrine of preemption which is being discussed by this particular author? So the doctrine of preemption. No. What is doctrine of preemption? doctrine of Doctrine of preemption is based on the right to take out terrorist target if preparation are being made in Pakistan to launch an unacceptable terrorist attack. So what is this doctrine of preemption? So doctrine of preemption basically means that if someone is trying if someone is making preparation in Pakistan that he or she will attack India. So Indian government or the Indian military can launch an attack or launch a terrorist to launch a mission or launch a target mission to remove these kind of insurgencies. Now this is important for us to understand that what is the meaning of doctrine of preemption, because this is the most important thing in this particular article. What is doctrine of preemption? So what is this doctrine of preemption? Right to take out terrorist targets. Now, what is the meaning of right to take out terrorist targets? So basically, right to take out terrorist target means to eliminate them. If if preparations are being made in Pakistan to launch an unacceptable attack. Now, what is this doctrine of preemption? In the doctrine of preemption, that if the preparation is being made in Pakistan for any terrorist attack in India, that Indian military forces can eliminate those terrorists from those places. So basically, अगर पाकिस्तान में रह करके कोई प्रिपरेशन कर रहा है कि वो इंडिया में आकर के अटैक करेगा, तो इंडियन आर्मी वहां पे जाकर के इनको एलिमिनेट कर सकती है. दिस इज डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ प्रीएम्पशन. ना सिर्फ इस पर्टिकुलर न्यूज़ आइटम में सिर्फ इतनी चीज़ें हमारे लिए इंपॉर्टेंट थी जो हमें समझना था कि हमने मोस्टली डिप्लोमेटिक टूल्स का हमेशा यूज़ किया प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व करने के लिए. वी वर नॉट द फर्स्ट पर्सन जिन्होंने वायलेंस को हमने चूज़ की. कैसे अलग अलग गवर्नमेंट के टाइम पे पाकिस्तान में चीज़ें ऐसे चेंज हुई कि बेनजीर भुट्टो के टाइम पे उन्होंने कैसा मतलब क्या तरीका अपनाया था कि उन्होंने सेपरेटिस्ट और मिलिटेंसी का यू नो they took the help of militancy and this separatist group in Jammu and Kashmir, where Mr. When Nawaz Sharif was elected in the year 1997, the things changed because he opened the gate for the conversation between India and Pakistan. So last में सबसे important topic क्या सबसे important element क्या है इस particular news item का सबसे important element है doctrine of preemption. ठीक है, अब हम लोग आगे बढ़ रहे हैं न्यूज आइटम पे, अगले न्यूज आइटम पे. So this is related to the arrest of Kejriwal, which is not important for us to understand, for us to know. Now the second passage related to the get the one day metro routing right. So this is not that important article कि हमें इसको बहुत एक holistic coverage देने की जरूरत है. हम इस आर्टिकल को इजीली स्किप कर सकते हैं. ये पर्टिकुलर जो न्यूज आइटम है जो एडिटोरियल में सेकंड नंबर पे है, ये उतना ज्यादा हमारे एग्जाम के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. ये हायर एग्जामिनेशन के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट हो सकता है, बट अगेन द नीड ऑफ आवर एग्जामिनेशन इज डिफरेंट. तो हमें अपनी एग्जामिनेशन की जो डिमांड है उनको केटर करते हुए इस पर्टिकुलर न्यूज आइटम को हमें स्किप करना होगा. अब हम लोग पहुंचेंगे एक नेक्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द न्यूज़पेपर. अब हम लोग पहुंच चुके हैं बिजनेस सेक्शन में. बिजनेस सेक्शन में अगेन हमें चीज़ें बहुत आराम से देखनी होंगी, बहुत इजीली देखनी होंगी, कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट ना स्किप हो जाए. तो इकोनॉमी रोबस्ट डिस्पाइट ग्लोबल रिस्क, नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट. Reliance Jio raises mobile data tariffs effectively from July 3, not important. CCI jugs competition law violation case against Google. So this is also not important. The Competition Commission of India has dismissed a complaint against Google India alleging the tech giant abused its dominant position to favor Truecaller in the market for caller ID and spam protection apps. So there was an allegation. So there was a case in the Competition Commission of India against the Google that Google has misused its dominant position to favor the Truecaller app in the market for caller ID and spam detections. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. SEBI tightens norms on financial influencer, eases rules for delisting. This is not important for us to. Infosys CEO settles charges to lacking, not important. Ultratech Cement acquires 23% stake in India Cement, not important. Now, moving on. So now that we have to no इस न्यूज़ को हम लोग बहुत ब्रीफ में कवर करेंगे. US alarmed by prospect of cheap Chinese electric vehicles from Mexico. So what China is doing is that China is constructing its electronic vehicles factories in Mexico. China Mexico में अपनी EV factories बना रहा है. अब वहां से क्या होगा कि बेसिकली वो मेक्सिको से बहुत ही कम और सस्ते रेट पे ये जो व्हीकल्स होंगी ये यूएस मार्केट में पेनिट्रेट करना स्टार्ट करेगा. सो इसका क्या इम्पैक्ट होगा कि चाइनीज जो चाइनीज व्हीकल हैं इनका जो कॉस्टिंग है, एज वी ऑल नो चाइनीज व्हीकल या चाइनीज गुड्स का जो मेन यूएसपी होता है वो क्या होता है कि उनके प्राइजेस बहुत कम होता है. अब क्या होगा कि जो यूएस में एक एवरेज ईवी का प्राइस है वो 55,000 यूएस डॉलर्स है, और मेक्सिको में जो चाइना ईवीज बनाएगा वो रफली हाफ, उनका प्राइस कितना होगा, हाफ होगा. अब मान लीजिए अगर अमेरिकन को 55,000 के कंपैरिजन में अगर इसके हाफ प्राइस पे कार मिल रही है तो लोग ऑब्वियसली वो लोग चाइनीज कार की तरफ शिफ्ट करेंगे. तो अगर ये लोग चाइनीज कार की तरफ शिफ्ट करेंगे तो अगेन यूएस का जो डोमेस्टिक मार्केट है उस पर क्या असर पड़ेगा. सो वी दिस वाज क्वाइट अ स्मार्ट मूव बाय द चाइना. दिस इज अ वेरी स्मार्ट मूव बाय चाइना that they are establishing their factories in Mexico, and because it will be easier for China to you know import vehicles from Mexico to United States of America. Now moving on to the next important news item for the day. So अब हम लोग इंटरनेशनल सेक्शन में एंटर कर चुके हैं. बोलिवियन जनरल अरेस्टेड आफ्टर फेल्ड coup attempt. So this is kind of important for us to understand that led by Army Chief Juan Hos Uniga, troops stormed the government palace but quickly arrested after President has sacked the rebel general. Everything is now under control, says the minister. So in Bolivia, there was an attempt of military coup, but this attempt was failed as the main leader, Chief General Juan Jos Hungia, was arrested by the security forces of Bolivia. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. Can send Lebanon to Stone Age, says Israel. So basically, Israel has given a statement that it can cause so much of damage to Lebanon that the Lebanon will shift back to the Stone Age. So this is a kind of statement that the Israel is giving now. We have elections in the United Kingdom on 4th of July 2024. So there are debates going on between the two leaders, Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak is from Conservative Party and Keir Starmer is from Labour Party. We have to understand 4th जुलाई को इलेक्शन है. यूके में कौन कौन से दो लीडर है. ऋषि सुनाक की पार्टी का नाम क्या है, कंजर्वेटिव पार्टी. और जो अपोजिट में है वो कौन सी पार्टी, अपोजिशन में लेबर पार्टी के की लीडर कौन से हैं, कीर स्टार्मर. नाउ मूविंग ऑन. So this is Russian troops set their eyes on Ukraine's once peaceful town of Toretsk. So basically, Russia is trying to acquire another city of Ukraine, that is Toretsk. Toretsk is used to be a very peaceful city. So now, moving on to the sports section of the 28th June 2024. Only important news headline for us in the sports section is that India has defeated England in the semi-final of T20 World Cup 2024. India will play final against the South Africa on 29th of June 2024. So this is a big news that we will be playing an ICC final on the 29th of June 2024 against the team of South Africa. With this, we have completed the news analysis of 28th of June 2024, and you guys have to understand one thing. हमें सिर्फ उन चीज़ों पे फोकस करना है जो एग्जाम के लिए हैं. पेपर में तो हर दिन 18 पेज रहेंगे. Each and every day the newspaper will have 18 pages, but all these 18 pages are not important for us to understand. Some days it will take 50 minutes to complete the newspaper, and some days it will take only 25 minutes, because every day is not the same, we all know. So on this note, I will end today's video analysis. Thank you so much for watching today's video analysis, and I hope you guys understood everything. अगर आपको कोई भी डाउट होता है then to do punch in your questions. Thank you so much.